I want to fight you a little on this one,
like
actually.
baseball. Listen, I've never played baseball in my life, but I've played rounders.
What is rounders?
I think it's like a shit version of baseball. Alan's nodding his head, right? Maybe rounders is actually like a badass version of baseball, and you freaking guys got it and took it and gave it a different name and called it your own.
Today, Scott Devine and I are here to fix your technique mistakes. We've made them. We still make them. We all make them. We're here to help. We have 11 fixes for you, and I'm going to start out. Number one, I was just saying to Scott, when I teach on SBL and I teach one-on-one with students, I have discovered one of the biggest things is we have all been taught from early on that the 1, 2, 3, 4 fingering system, Scott, right?
Yeah.
1 finger per fret, what you use to play a scale, or what you use to do that, diabolical chromatic warm-up exercise. That gets in the way sometimes. It's not always wrong. In fact, sometimes it's wonderful for playing a scale, right? For playing complicated passages. But it's not always the way, because what happens is it creates tension in your fretting hand when you have to play a whole step from fingers 1 to 3. Yeah. So have it in your wheelhouse, have it in your toolbox, right? But let me show you an alternate way of playing the bass. And I will bet that you will see so many players doing this. Yeah. Scott and I do this. So many players do this, right? It's called the 1, 2, 4 fingering system. It actually comes from upright bass, the Samandel method. Scott, you ever spend any time in that book?
I haven't, but I yeah, of course I have, yes. No, I haven't.
Well, all it is you remove your third finger from the equation. So instead of thinking 1 finger per fret, we're just going to play first finger, second finger, pinky. Now look at this. Your third finger is there, but it's just along for the ride. Look how much comfort. So if I'm playing a groove between whole steps, my hand is so comfortable, right? If I'm playing it this way with fingers 1 and 3, my pinky's hanging out, I'm not muting the instrument, it's so much more difficult. Yeah. So try this collapsed fingering. Fingers 1, 2, 4. Can I show them the warm-up?
Do it.
Show them a little warm-up exercise. Check it out. So let's try this. We're going to play triplets.
So just 1, 2, and 4.
Yeah, fingers 1, 2, and 4 in a whole step span. We come up a half step. We come up a whole step. Up a whole step.
It's the
half
number
step.
one giveaway. Do you know when you're watching a bass player? So I'm sure that somebody's watching this and they're like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, 1, 2, 4, whatever, guys. Listen, it's the number one giveaway that somebody is stuck in that kind of like beginner zone. And I'm talking to all you guys that have been playing 10, 20 years. Listen,
it's true.
That beginners, it's the people that sort of like use this. This 1, 3 thing is scrappy as shit. Okay, you've got to stop doing it. And somebody's spicy. Somebody's going to call out and be like, "Oh, but this player uses it." Yes, there are a tiny handful of players that use it. But for me, when I'm teaching, as Ian was saying before, when we teach 1-to-1, if we see people using that 1 and 3 across 2 frets like that, it's instant red flag. It is instant red flag. So don't think that you've got it if you haven't. You need to get this down. It'll just make everything feel easier. And if you've ever heard me play anything like that kind of sort of like synth bassy kind of run, it's all with 1 and 4.
1 and 4.
And it's all over 3 frets. It's the rock. Do you know what I mean?
It's the rock horns.
Exactly, it's the rock horns. Yeah, the rock horns were made for playing bass. That's the way I like to think about it.
Attaboy. So good. For this lesson, we have prepared a cheat sheet for you with all 11 of these technique examples in one place. You can refer back to it over and over again. It's in a link down in the description. Go grab it.
Okay, what's up next, dude?
Number 2 is get your muting together. And look, I think you put that on the dock. And I don't think you were talking about palm muting. I think you are talking about muting the strings on your bass so that they're not ringing.
There's
when
two levels to it. This arguably could have been two separate points, right? But one of them is getting your plucking hand muting together, right? So when I'm plucking the bass, if I'm playing, whatever it is, as I go down the strings, especially onto the D and the G string, I don't want these strings down here ringing out. So I need a system to help me stop that happening. For me personally, my thumb moves over, right? As I'm on there, as I go to the G string there, that thumb there is muting all of the other strings. And then as I come back down, it goes back onto the top of the pickup like this. So if you were a player who generally plays with your thumb on the pickup, and then as you play down, it just stays there, that happens, right?
Do the whole scale once with all the way up with no muting. Whole bass starts to ring.
If you haven't had it already, that embarrassing moment where you play in a studio and you go in the control room and you're like, oh yeah, and you're like listening to the band and the engineer's like, hey, let's just solo the bass for a minute. Oh, and then they solo the bass and it sounds like dog shit, right? It's because your muting's not together. So you need to get some kind of muting system together. It can be the shift in the thumb, it can be the floating thumb, it can be the Jacko thing when he used fingers 4 and 3 on there. There's a bunch of players do that as well, but you need some kind of system. So that's one part of muting. The other part of muting that arguably isn't as critical but is a really great skill to have is fretting hand muting. So what I mean by this is instead of using palm muting, which is this, instead of that I can go,
which is sort of like a tonal mute.
It's a tonal mute. So I'm getting my second, third, and fourth finger, and I'm muting the string. So what I'm doing there is effectively playing with one finger.
Yeah. And then using those other fingers, 2, 3, and 4, as sort of the pad mute in front. And it ain't the glove.
It ain't the glove. Okay, here we go.
The gloves are off.
Okay, it's not the glove, man. Right? So that's left-hand muting, and more players use that than you think, especially the badass players, like all of the guys that jump to mind for me, like Justin Rains and Goucher and Sheree Reed and all of those guys like use the heck out of this technique. They're just like, it's just a part of that. So number 1, pinky. Number 2, get your muting together. Just to give you a rough idea, because you might be watching this video and thinking, well, like, where's my technique at? Do I need to work on my technique? And ultimately the headline is, yes, you do. Like 95% of people that we work with in SBL, we do like video sharing. So we're watching people play, students that are in, and we've had like tens and tens of thousands of people go through SBL and share those videos that we've seen. The vast majority of them need to work on their technique. In fact, it's the number one thing. Another way of thinking about it is that like maybe more, and I hate it when people pluck these percentages out of the sky, but I'm going to do it. I'm plucking this out. Honestly, 95% of people's bass technique is actually garbage. Like 95% of players really need to focus on their technique, and it's not where it should be. They might say and use language like, oh, I'm stuck in a rut, or I've plateaued. And you haven't plateaued, actually. What's happening is you're bundling all your techniques together. And I say techniques, not technique. Techniques, because technique isn't one thing. It's your right hand. It's your left hand. It's your muting, as we've already talked about. It's the way that you like navigate around the neck. It's how you hold the instrument. It's your hammer-ons. It's your pull-offs. It's your slides. It's your articulations. It's the So your technique is not one thing. If you have bad technique, it isn't one thing, okay? Technique is a system of things. Or the way I sometimes like to think about it is dials, okay? And what happens is when you're trying to get better at your technique, one thing, right? What's happening is you're giving your motor cortex, yes, we're going to go neuroscience for a minute.
Oh, I love it.
You're giving your motor cortex way too information to try and handle. Because of all of the things that I've just said, your technique is all of them multiple things. And what you're asking your motor cortex to do is do so much heavy lifting, organize this big knot of things, right?
At the same time.
At the same time. And it
Yes.
can't. So what happens is it just glues up and it ends up into a glued mess, which is why there's bass players out there that have been playing for 5, 10, 20, 30, you know who you are. I'm talking to you, who've been playing for decades, and their freaking technique has not got any better. Is it not a little bit sort of like confusing why this is happening? The reason is you're giving your motor cortex zero chance. You're just gluing it all up. So what you really need to do to level your bass techniques, not technique, bass techniques up, is you need to decouple them, unbundle them. You need to focus on each individual type of technique as its own thing with its own set of exercises. Okay, then you focus on that the individual parts within your technique, and then you just glue them all together and you're off to the races. That's how you can really get an up level in your technique. And I'm talking whether you've been playing for 6 months or you've been playing for 6 decades. If you watch this video and it tickles your fancy, as we say over here in Leeds or the UK. If you get some value from this video, I'd really love you to check out the Technique Accelerator, which is my program that I put together a few years ago that does this exact thing. It teaches this exact system. And the reason why it's 6 months long is because I went through this process of up-leveling my own technique, and it took that long to do it. Okay, so what I've done is those exercises that I used, I've put them into a program. It takes you through the entire system, breaking down each specific thing into its own technique dial, as it were. And I give you the exact exercises I used to do it. So if you want to check it out, I'll make sure the technique, the URL is on the screen right here. Yes, right down there. There'll be a URL, or you can click the link in the description, or you can click the link in the pinned comment as well. Go check it out. I will say we only open up this program once a year for enrollment, and this is it this week, and then it's closing down. So go check it out if you want to level your bass technique up and get out of that freaking rut you're in. Anyway, so that's number 1, Pinky. Number 2, getting your muting together. Number 3 is a biggie. Do you want to take it? Do you want me to?
Oh, I got a little bit of it. Let's share. Don't ignore your plucking hand. Don't ignore your tone that you get from your plucking hand, right? And that's not to say that there's only one way to pluck, right? It's not that there's only one way to do it, but it's that you need to be intentional about the sound that you get out of your plucking hand, right? And for me, I remember when I first started to play, I was a bit of a clacker. Everything I did... You know, I would play scales like this. Look at you wince, right? I mean, and hey, wow. Okay, so that's some stuff. That's some bad technique right there, right? Where I'm ignoring my plucking hand tone, right? I'm not muting. I'm gonna play one finger per fret, and my bass is an absolute disaster, right? But to get it together and to play clean with muting, it's different, right? Yeah. I can still do this and have it be clean, but what is that about, right? It's about your plucking hand. So I think one of the things that I would talk to students about constantly at SBL was make sure that you can get a nice sound from your plucking hand in terms of a pull through the string. Check out my arm here. So instead of a clack, not that that's wrong, but instead of a clacking sound, try a pull through the string. It lets all the low end of your bass come through, and it's a big clean sound. So I would challenge anybody out there, see if you can play through something, you know, even just 5 notes without making any fret noise and clack on your instrument.
Yeah, this is like one of the number one ignored things about when you're playing.
So true.
You basically do this. And you're like, oh, okay, I can do that. You know what I mean? And then it's all about, I need to learn another arpeggio. I need to learn another scale. I need to learn a hexatonic. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's where the magic is. Oh. You know what I mean? So, but it really is one of the most ignored. And to what Ian's point here is, like, making sure that you just freaking understand what the hell's going on. That's number one. Level one. Understand what the heck. Are you doing this? Are you going through? Are you like, what are you doing? Just be aware of it. So part of it is just like awareness. And then also is then dynamic control of your plucking hand as well. Yes. Right. And I mean, like, we shouldn't be, or you shouldn't have, like, if you looked at the velocity of your fingers when you play, right? It shouldn't just be like, meh. You know, like if I'm playing something like, okay, but in reality, we're going to go, or
there's going to be some dynamic.
I'm like, the notes I'm going. So
yes.
So when you're playing with the groove, it goes from this to
and just having control. It's not that the monotone thing is always bad.
Yeah, it's having. You can, when we're speaking, sometimes I go really high like this, and I get really excited. Right. Sometimes.
Yes, that's right.
My point is that we go up and down, you know, like when we're telling stories, and we need to be able to do that on bass. So not only do you need to have your plucking hand, your plucking fingers, like, just understand what's going on, we also need to be able to get dynamics out of there and bring the line alive as well.
Absolutely. That's great. I was in my 40s, and I am still in my 40s currently, when I discovered this. I learned this from you.
You did,
and I absolutely did, because Scott has a whole thing about the bass being flat to your body. If the bass is flat to your body, check it out how it is right now, right? It's flat against my body. You are restricted in your access up, right? Now somebody's going to say, you don't need to play on the dusty end of the bass anyway. Bollocks to that, I would say. No, you want access, and how do you get it? So then if you've got this thing up against your body, and now you're restricted, you're just sort of forcing your weird sort of T-Rex hand up there. No, check it out. Instead, you are going to pivot the instrument away from you. And Scott talks about it in a box. Like, think about, instead of it going from side to side to corner to corner.
Corner to corner, yeah.
Correct?
Yeah, exactly. You're sitting in a box, and you don't want it across, like, you don't want it across the box. You want it corner to corner.
I mean, you could play with your bass flat to your body here, and it's fine, right?
Yeah.
But if you need to come up here...
Exactly, you need to push it out.
You need to push it out.
So to prove this point, check this out. This is how I normally sit with the bass. Like, you know, I'm going to now put the bass flat to the camera.
Okay. That's so far.
I actually do it like this now, and then we've got a side camera over there that captures it.
Let me just say with this too, this is movable, right? This is something that in real time you can actually change even as you're playing. You know, if you're playing when it's up against you, if you come up, you can pivot the instrument away when you need it. Yeah. Right? So you can do like Scott, where it's like always ready for shred zone. You know, you're always ready for the shred zone. Yeah. I mean, I think I'm a little bit more flat. I have a little bit of angle out, but I'm a little more flat typically. But then if I need it, then I can push the neck out if I need to come up high.
So we're moving on. So next up is alternate plucking and raking. And this really just gets further into this idea of you're forgetting about the plucking hand. You know, everybody's worried about all of the scales and the arpeggios and all of that stuff, learning the next new lick. and forgetting about the engine, which really drives the whole system along. Okay.
Yes.
And it's just simply having a system that you can rely on when you go up a linear line. So for a scale or whatever like that, ideally you want to be playing that using alternate fingers. So index, middle, index, middle, index, middle, index, middle, and so forth, right? And then when you're coming down, again, you want another system. So when I do it down, I use Raking, which means I'm going index, middle, index, index, middle, index, index, middle, index, middle. So as I go from, let's say, the G string to the D string or the D string to the A string, I double up. The last finger to play the string is the first finger to play the next string. And that system is used like across a bunch of players and really gives you a very specific like sound and all of those guys that play sort of like that style, that kind of thing, they're all using Raking. And it's a beast to get down to that level, but doable if you're using the right systems. And that goes up back to my spiel earlier when I was saying about, focusing on all of these individual parts of technique. This is a great example of that. You're not going to kind of just jam your way there to be able to rake like that. You really have to focus on it as its own thing, and then you bring it together. In fact, in the Technique Accelerator, we have an entire module, like over an hour's worth of material focused just on that one thing, just showing you the very specific exercises to use to be able to install that into your everyday bass playing. So it's not impossible. It's just you need the right exercises to be able to do that.
For sure. And let me just give a plug for Raking that is not even like in shred zone, right? Because like we're hearing you go like rip down these scales, which is so sick. But even if you're out there saying like, I don't want to do that, or that's not my thing, I just want to play like functional bass and I don't want to do that kind of thing, even for doing just like when I'm playing that riff, I'm raking from the G string down to the D string. And it feels so nice to when you play a string and you're descending, you're already on that string to play it.
Yeah.
Your finger is already there. And so it becomes this really nice tactile point too for when you're grooving. I mean, even something simple. Like just something as simple as that becomes easier to do when you're raking.
Next up is don't baseball bat your grip. Like holding it like this.
Yeah.
Like the problem with doing this, and I am sort of like, I actually do play like this sometimes. Because it adds like a certain grease to it, like, but if you have any aspirations of, whatever, anything kind of sort of technically challenging, you're going to have to drop that thumb down onto the back of the neck. You're going to have this little hole here, and that will give you the ability to do this, to open up your fingers. So I've had lots of students when I'm working with them, and they're like, oh, I can't open my fingers when I'm playing. They just don't open. I can't stretch. And I'm just like,
Wrist down.
And I'm like, I'm like, can you do this?
Right.
Because if you can do that, then you're all good, right?
Well, I know.
But if you do that, if you do that, now make it flat. Now try and open your hands.
Right. It's wild.
So you need, as soon as your wrist does this, you can't open up your hand. So you need to have the wrist down, thumb on the back of the neck, and that'll give you the ability to open up and play nice and freely on the fingerboard. Easy as that. But, like I kind of do like that grip as well. My take is have them both. Have them both.
Yeah, I think that's the move,
Two for
actually.
the price of one.
It's have them both, because there's something about... You just don't want it to be a habit. You want it to be a choice.
Yeah.
Right? Play this way. But then if you need to play... That's going to be hard to to do this way, right?
Yeah.
But if you want to do something that steps out of just like sort of meat-fisted rock dude zone, that's exactly right. I always think of it too as like drop your shoulder, drop your wrist, right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you get into this vibe where it's like, I'm holding the tension of my strap if I'm wearing one, right? And I need to drop my shoulder, drop my wrist, elbow out a little bit, and then you're in this zone where you can completely spread out, like you were saying. Yeah.
Easy as that. Okay, next up is the seesaw, the dreaded seesaw. Don't do this.
I love it.
Yeah, this is kind of wild because there's actually some pretty decent players do this as well, but it's not great technique. It's like if you're a drummer, imagine like Treelock Gertu back in the day. Listen, I know I'm going esoteric here, but Treelock is not got the best technique. It's bad. He sounds great, okay, but we don't want drum technique like Treelock, right? Well, same deal here is you might have seen some good players play like this, but listen, it's not good to do it, and it will be holding you back. Just because they do it doesn't mean you should do it as well. Seesawing is when I'm holding one note down, I put another note down, and for some unknown reason, this finger now goes bop and pops up. Then you put another finger down, bop, and you end up doing this. So when one digit goes down, the other one just springs up. Right? It doesn't need to be like that. So what we want to do is to be able to do that. I talk about this really extensively in the start of the Technique Accelerator, actually. So you want to have control over each digit, and it doesn't want to be doing this.
Right.
This is bullshit. This thing here, wild. Okay, it needs to be this.
Fingers close to the board.
Fingers close to the board and all of them down until you decide when it should come off.
I love it.
And when you decide it's fine, it can come off, but it can't just go me, all over the place. Yeah.
Can I give you a diabolical thing? There's a classical guitar teacher that showed me this once. So if you're playing, Scott there was playing 1, 2, 3, 4, which you can do, but remember from the top of the video, also you have 1, 2, 4. Like if we just take 1, 2, 4, then let's go to the next strings, but we're not going to lift our fingers until we need them. It's actually a little easier to see in 1, 2, 3, 4. So check it out. I'm going to play 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I am not going to lift my fingers until I need them.
Yeah, I love this exercise.
And it's nasty.
Yeah.
It's nasty. So try that at home. See if you can get that, because that will absolutely stop you from seesawing. You can't.
Yeah. And
if you do that.
Interesting. I think that this is a great exercise, actually, just as an example of you would never play like that. What it's doing, though, is it's giving you the ability to get like micro control over your movements. So you've just got more control. Okay, next, dude, you need a strap.
Oh, yeah.
Grab the strap.
Hey, look at this. I've got one right here, huh? So check it out. A lot of times we're practicing at home and we're sitting down and we're practicing, and then you get on the gig and you want to be cool, and so you put the strap on and you stand up, and it's a whole different ball game. The way the bass hangs, what the strap height is, right? So you definitely need to practice standing up occasionally.
Yeah.
Get up there, stand up, run the set. Are you playing at church? Are you playing in a wedding band? Are you in a garage band with your friends? That's so I'm like a child of the 90s. I'm in a garage band with your friends. Remember those days, dude. Oh, okay. Oh, it's the best. Oh, more garage bands, please. But so check it out. The sort of the recommendation, Scott, right, is, I remember Billy Sheehan talking about this, right? You have your instrument on your lap if you're in good posture. Okay. And then sort of the standard operating procedure, the best practice is stand up, and it should hang about where it hangs on you if you're seated.
Yeah.
So mine is maybe a tiny bit lower, but it's generally in that zone, right? And then you get to decide where it is. Do you put it off? Do you put it out this way a little bit? What angle do you want? But all of that is different when you're using a strap. It's so different. Yeah, right? Yeah. I like mine to be a little bit lower when I stand, just a little bit. It's about here when I sit. It's about here when I stand. And I think it varies. You can change your strap height, but try it, adjust it. Go super bass geek fusion 90s high. Go super Rob DeLeo low from STP. Try all those things. See how they work for you.
The 90s high thing now, or the late 80s, early 90s, right? This high thing.
Yeah.
I think it's cool now. I think
cool.
It's almost forgotten about. Like there's only sort of like us guys and people older. Anybody like younger, sort of like 30s, 20s, they don't know about that era. They're like, whoa, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I remember seeing the Strokes on SNL and their guitar players, it's like early 2000s. And their guitar players are playing like super up high and kind of parallel, like that vibe. And I'm thinking like, that's like that fusion thing.
Yeah.
And it's
like
back.
it was like, it was like super uncool, right? There was like Nirvana and sort of like, it was like very uncool to do the sort of like the high guitar thing. And then Tom Morello came along.
Oh, I
was like, whatever, guys. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Tom plays so high. Good. That's right.
Yeah, super high. I can remember seeing that and I was like, oh, I love him just a bit more now.
Yeah, for sure. And just, hey, pay attention to your wrist angles, guys. Like one thing, let me just say this, with a strap, you can really pay attention to how your wrists are angled. You don't want crazy wrist angles with a strap. So like what I've discovered is if it's too high, then what happens for me is this wrist has to go over the bass at an awkward angle.
This is it, dude. This is number 9.
Oh, it is? Oh my God, I'm sorry, I jumped.
I need the people to vote. Well, on the notes, I have put the Ostrich Neck.
Right? Oh, okay. I didn't know what that meant.
But I was just, like there's an argument to be said. It might be a swan neck as well, but I think ostrich is just, it's this thing, isn't it? It's like extreme angle. All your tendons run through your carpal bones here. They're all going to be scraping over them, and you just don't want to do that. It's carpal tunnel city. So don't do that. Try not to have too much of an angle when you're playing. Like I do have some kind of an angle, but it's but it's okay. It's probably like this. It's definitely not this.
Yeah, look, and when you've got the strap too, when it's low. So if you're doing the low slung thing and it looks cool, right? If you've got it like down here, what happens is then if the bass is here, then you've got the ostrich neck happening with this hand, right? The Rob DeLeo solve is to put the neck up, right? That's kind of a cool thing to do. And then that actually straightens out both wrists. But yeah, you want to find that spot in the strap that feels supportive for your instrument on your body, and then having nice wrist angles. And for me, it's just slightly below seated position. I just think that feels great. This wrist feels good. This wrist feels good. And I'm ready for the gig, dude.
Next one, use your fingertips. Use your fingertips, not your pads. I would say there's a varying degrees that you can approach it, right? So when I'm playing, I'm not like right on the fingertip. I'm actually more sort of like 45 degrees on like that, But what you shouldn't be doing is using your pad, like this thing.
In the middle of your finger.
Yeah, don't use the pads of your fingers. Because it's just straight up bad technique, and like there's a bunch of people do it. I can't. I'm trying to do it here. I can't. But this thing.
Well, and watch that too. Scott's knuckles, when he uses his pads, what happens is that first knuckle collapses.
Yeah, it collapses down. You get this sort of like inverse, sort of like concave type thing.
And when your knuckles collapse, you have way less strength. Like think about, if you're holding on for a cliff for dear life, you're about to fall. Would you hold on to it like this, or would you hold on to it like this? You know what I mean? Would you hold on like this? No, you do this. You'd engage your, because this engages all of the tendons and muscles in your arm. If you're flat, then what happens is you have no strength, right? If you have flat fingers, you're playing with your pads, knuckles collapsed, you have to squeeze the hell out of the neck to get any notes to happen.
You need a bit of purchase, baby.
Yeah, you need a bit of purchase. Yeah. Yeah, you got to bend those knuckles, play, on the... I never play on the tips necessarily, but I am just slightly behind the tips with a bent knuckle for me.
Exactly that. And we're at number 11 now, but I've just realized number 11, we kind of talked about it earlier. Number 11 is just don't bundle all of your techniques together. Don't bundle them together. They're not one thing. It's a complete system of separate entities. Yes. And to my earlier point, you want to be working on those separately, not all together, because your motor cortex, even though it is a beautiful part of the brain, chef's kiss, beautiful part. We would be in trouble without it, but we need to give it a freaking fighting chance, And to do that, you need to get each of those dials within your the system of technique and work on them separately. And as I said before, if you want to go through the same system that I used and I created for myself all the way back when I was like 23, 24, there's a whole tale about it. But I got really frustrated with my technique. I just hit kind of like what I was talking about earlier, like a bit of a rut, plateaued, couldn't get past it. And after a lot of pain, not physical pain, mental pain of trying to push through, that's when I came up with this idea of, actually I'm maybe approaching this all wrong, and I need to decouple all of the different parts of my technique and work on them separately. And that's what became the Technique Accelerator program that I was mentioning earlier. Again, we'll have the URL on the screen here and in the description, and we'll put it in the first comment. Go check it out. It's open for enrollment right now. It's the last time this year it will be open, and hopefully you'll enroll and check it out. It's got a 30-day money-back guarantee as well, so if it doesn't rock your world, you can just ask for your money back, and we'll send it straight over. And that is it, Mr. Allison.
Unbelievable.
11 hot tips to sort out your bass technique. Thanks, guys. You're awesome as always. We'll see you next time. Take it easy.
I am going to admit something that's very embarrassing.
You got an itch?
In my... Not that embarrassing.
No, not that one.
Let's talk about that later.